Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. All of Washington is girding for next Monday, 6 days from now. That's when Palo Alto psychology professor Christine Blasey Ford has been invited to testify on Capitol Hill about the assault that she says she suffered at the hands of Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh sometime around 1982. Now, both Republicans and Democrats say they want Ford to testify on the Hill, though no one has explained exactly what the rest of us could possibly learn from that. Ford says she has already recounted all that she can remember. The details at this point are thin, including when and where that assault allegedly took place. Brett Kavanaugh, for his part, has denied that any of it ever happened. And so is his high school friend Mark Judge, whom Ford claims was also there that night. So that's where we are. That's the sum total of what we know. And it's still a matter of she said, they said. Without a lot more evidence, it is hard to see anybody proving anything, regardless of how many hearings are held. But that has not stopped leading Democrats from reaching a firm conclusion in this case. How do they know for certain what happened 36 years ago? Well, because Brett Kavanaugh is a man. Therefore, he is guilty. All men are guilty. It's the Y chromosome. Watch as Hawaii Senator and noted geneticist Mazie Hirono explains it.
Not only do women like Dr. Ford, who bravely comes forward, need to be heard, but they need to be believed. Guess who's perpetuating all of these kinds of actions? It's the men in this country. And I just want to say to the men in this country, just shut up and step up. Do the right thing for a change.
Did you catch that? It's not just Brett Kavanaugh who's guilty. It's, quote, the men of this country, every single one of them, because they're men. Christine Ford, meanwhile, is telling the truth because she's a woman. She's female. You must believe her. That's a command from a United States senator. It's not optional. It's mandatory. So repeat after Mazie Hirono. Men always lie. Women never do. One sex is evil. The other is holy. That's the catechism of the Church of Late-Stage Feminism. Does anyone actually believe this nonsense? Of course not, because it's ridiculous. It's also divisive and crazy. Virtue is not restricted to a single gender, or for that matter, to a single race. And for a time, it seemed like we had moved past ideas like those. They're corrosive. But now they're back in force. They're the inevitable terminus of identity politics. So because the left has already decided conclusively what happened in 1982, further evidence is irrelevant. As several Democrats explained today, there is nothing Brett Kavanaugh could do to prove his innocence. Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia, for example, was asked how exactly Kavanaugh might clear his name. The senator's reply, quote, that's kind of very hypothetical. Very hypothetical? Well, it's not very hypothetical to Brett Kavanaugh and his wife and their daughters. Imagine you were accused of a sex crime and then informed by a lawmaker that there was really no way you could beat the charge, no matter what evidence you presented. You could never be declared innocent except in some, quote, very hypothetical way. How would you respond to that? You'd probably wonder what country you were living in. Definitely not America. These are the Democratic Party's new standards, and it goes without saying they are highly subjective. They're not applied to everyone. It depends entirely on how useful you are. Senator Ted Kennedy drove his Oldsmobile off a bridge with a young woman inside. He fled the scene and left her, but he never summoned help. He didn't want the DUI arrest. The young woman Kennedy abandoned slowly asphyxiated over a period of hours. Yet just 10 years after doing that, Kennedy ran for president as a Democrat. He died a liberal hero. The Democratic Party needed Ted Kennedy, so they excused virtually everything he did. You're watching something similar unfold with the deputy chair of the Democratic National Committee, Keith Ellison. Last month, Ellison was credibly accused of physically abusing an ex-girlfriend named Karen Monahan. Apparently, Mazie Hirono never heard about it because nobody in the Democratic Party seems to believe Monahan, despite the fact that she is a woman. As Monahan put it, quote, I've been smeared, threatened, isolated from my own party, all for the sake of the allegation she made, for daring to speak in public. Well, we asked the DNC today about the Ellison case, and they did not have much of a response. Quote, we take allegations of sexual abuse seriously, and we're working with the state party to review the allegations. Right. We're confident it will be a thorough investigation. On the other hand, why would it be? Because let's be honest, none of us ought to be in the investigations business in the first place. Political parties, college administrators, cable news yappers, all of us. We're not people you want determining anybody's guilt or innocence. We're not qualified for that. We've got a legal mechanism for doing that. It's not flawless, but for almost 250 years, our justice system has functioned pretty well. In fact, better than any other country in the world. It's pretty straightforward. If you believe a crime has been committed against you, you report it. That would include theft, embezzlement, and yes, sexual assault. Go to the police. It's not always easy, obviously, but it's still your obligation as a citizen, not least to protect the rest of us from whomever you believe did it. The police investigate, a judge or jury renders a verdict. That's due process. It's the cornerstone of our system. It's one of the main reasons people move to this country from other places, because it works. It's certainly fairer than trial by CNN or a summary judgment from self-appointed gender judge Mazie Hirono. So let's not give up on it. It's one of the best things that we have. Robin Biro is a former Obama regional campaign director, and he joins us tonight. So thanks a lot, Robin, for coming on tonight. I want to hit you with some fairly recent news off of Capitol Hill. Dianne Feinstein, senator from California, who is the person to whom we owe this story, she's the one who brought it to public attention, said today, and I'm quoting now, "I can't say everything is truthful about what Christine Blasey Ford has said. I can't say everything is truthful." How do you respond to that?
We do know that back in August, she took a polygraph test and was determined that what she said was truthful according to that test. Now, those are subjective. They're not admissible in court, for example. But, you know, that there is that.
No, you don't understand. I'm not doubting that she's saying what she believes. In fact, last night on the show, I said I think it seems like she believes everything she's saying. I'm quoting Dianne Feinstein, the person who brought us this story, saying, and I'm quoting again, "I can't say everything is truthful." In other words, she may be lying. This is the person who brought us the story, who suspended the nomination process because of the story, now saying she could be lying. I mean, I don't know what to make of that. What do you make of that?
I make of that she wants this to be investigated. They're calling for the FBI to investigate that. President Trump said today that he does not want the FBI to investigate that Brett Kavanaugh has been through enough already. And that's just his personal opinion. But I think the American people deserve to know exactly the character of who the next nominee is for the Supreme Court.
Okay. I'm sorry to pause. I'm getting news in my ear that we have breaking news right now that the new demand, apparently through Ford's lawyer, is that she will not testify. She's been invited to testify next Monday, as we said in the open. And now she is saying she will not until the FBI completes its investigation. It's hard to even process this. How could you investigate an event that apparently took place between three people 36 years ago, two of whom deny it ever happened, one of whom says it does, but is muddy on the details, like what year it happened, where it happened, who else was there, how many people were present? How could the FBI possibly, quote, investigate something like that? Seriously.
Because there was supposedly an eyewitness in the room who's already now said that he will not testify before Congress, Mr. Ford. So that was concerning. But we just have to see how all of this plays out.
I get it. But hold on. How could it play out? I mean, so we don't know the accuser. And by the way, I just want to say a third time, seems like she believes what she's saying to me. What do I know? But she seems sincere. But she doesn't know the address of the house it took place. She doesn't know the year it took place or any of the circumstances.
She does have therapy notes. She has therapy notes.
But the therapy
there's plenty of documentation that she went through a trauma.
Okay, but I don't know that. I'm saying that she spoke to a therapist 6 years ago about it, but those notes contradict what she's saying now. So I'm just saying, look, this isn't really about getting to the bottom of the story. It's about delaying a Supreme Court nomination. I mean, let's be honest.
I hope not. I hope not, Tucker. And let me be honest here. As a Democratic strategist, I honestly believe, as much as I really don't want him to be the next Supreme Court justice, I think that it's in our best interest for the Democratic Party for us to fill this vacancy, because we really can't afford to have an open seat headed to the midterms, because it's going to drive out evangelical voters who may not like some of the things that Donald Trump himself has been accused of, sexual indiscretions.
Well, that may already be happening.
Because they'll hold their nose and vote for him.
So let me just ask you really quickly, and I should have prefaced this whole conversation with this. You are a man, and according to Senator Mazie Hirono, a Democrat in good standing, you're a liar by definition. Men lie, women tell the truth. Men always lie, the men of this country, as she put it, and women always tell the truth. They must always be believed. Do you buy that? Or is that insane?
No, I certainly don't prescribe to that. That just doesn't even pass the common sense test, Tucker, let's be honest.
Well,
but
thank
I
for
just
being
hope that the
honest.
Democratic.
Well, maybe you're
I
lying.
just
You're
hope
a
that the
man.
Democratic
How
Party.
can I know?
Good one. But no, this is just my honest, common sense opinion here that no, there are victims of both genders too when it comes to domestic violence and sexual assault. So that just doesn't pass the common sense test. Let's be honest.
No, it doesn't. Robin Bureau, thanks very much for coming on tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tucker.
All of a sudden, all kinds of